A country's currency can tell you a lot of interesting stories. Japan is a perfect example. Right now, the yen is at its weakest in 40 years, and that's created a strange scene. Tourists are flooding into Japan, all smiles over cheap trips and plates of delicious sushi. But Japanese households are facing something very different. Prices are rising for the first time in 30 years. Real wages keep falling. Some of them might even cut sushi off the menu just to save money. The yen is hitting rock bottom, but Japan's inflation is hitting the ceiling. So what's really going on in Japan? Let's find out. Welcome to Why Money, where economics becomes simple, interesting, and won't put you to sleep. A lot of people love Japan. Unagi rice bowls, udon, matcha, sushi. It's genuinely delicious. Personally, my favorite is grilled eel rice. But behind that one simple dish is the story of an entire economy. Follow me. GDP is the go-to number economists love to use. By that measure, Japan is the world's fourth largest economy. So Japan's currency, the yen, matters way beyond Japan's own borders. According to the BIS, the yen is the third most traded currency in the world. It makes up 16.8% of all foreign exchange trading, behind only the US dollar and the euro. Foreign exchange trading may sound confusing, so let me break it down. It simply means buying and selling one currency for another, like when you exchange dollars for yen before a trip to Japan. Except this happens globally 24 hours a day. It's a massive market. The yen sits in the top 3. That means banks, funds, businesses, and people all over the world hold it and use it. So when the yen swings hard, the effects spread way beyond Japan, like the first domino in a very long line. So what's actually happening to the yen? Between 2010 and 2020, the US dollar and Japanese yen rate stayed pretty stable, around 100 to 120 yen per dollar, a fairly balanced range. But since 2022, everything has changed. The yen entered a long, steady decline. Right now, it's at its weakest level in 40 years, since 1986. And that's genuinely shaken Japanese consumers. More on that shortly. The message is clear. This isn't a short-term blip. It's a long-running trend. So why is this happening? Let's rewind to 1980s Japan. Back then, it rose to become one of the most dynamic economies on earth. Asian tiger, economic miracle. Honestly, even those words don't fully capture it. But like a car running at full speed for too long, the engine eventually overheats. Real estate and stocks in Japan shot up like crazy. A bubble formed. It was only a matter of time. 1991 was a year Japanese investors would rather forget. Home prices crashed. The Nikkei 225 stock index lost nearly 60% of its value. After the crash came a frightening silence. The economy fell into stagnation. The clearest sign is Japan ended up with 3 negatives. The first negative is CPI. It's the Consumer Price Index, which measures whether prices rise or fall. Most countries are used to prices rising over time, but Japan, completely different story. This is where we get the word deflation. Prices don't rise, they even fall. And that's been Japan's story since the 1990s, right up to today. Imagine living in a country where prices keep rising. Naturally, you'd want to spend now. That TV will only cost more next year, right? Better buy it today. But if prices just stay the same, hold on. What's the rush? Wait a bit longer and it might even get cheaper. That leads to negative number 2, negative GDP. Through the 1980s, Japan's GDP grew 5 to 6% a year, a dream number. But after 1991, growth turned negative again and again. Minus 0.5%, minus 1.8%, even minus 5.9%, like you see on screen. For any country, Consumer spending is a load-bearing pillar. It can make up 50 to 60% of GDP. One good measure of that is retail sales. It grew 13% in 1989. Then it kept falling, bottoming out at minus 14% in 1998. Put simply, after the crash, people spent less, businesses got fewer orders, and a stagnant economy got even more stagnant. When people stop spending and start saving instead, you get negative number 3, negative interest rates. The government hated this stagnation. They knew they had to get money flowing again to water the economy back to life. So they slashed interest rates all the way down to 0, then even below 0. Yeah, negative interest rates. Sounds made up, right? But it's real. When rates are that low, in theory, you don't want to just leave your money sitting in the bank. You'd rather invest it, spend it, start a business with it. That's the theory anyway. But despite all that effort, inflation stayed low. Rates stayed negative, and the economy still stuck. And speaking of things that need a boost, this channel could use one too. Hit like, subscribe, and help us grow. Thank you. They say watch out for side effects with medicine, right? Well, Japan's ultra-low rate policy never really got the economy moving. GDP growth came in at minus 0.2% in 2024 and minus 1.2% in 2025. Meanwhile, the US, China, the EU, they were all growing 2 to 5%. So the cure never really worked. But the side effects, those showed up loud and clear. Which brings us to there are a bunch of reasons prices go up. Japan's case is interesting, but honestly, a little tricky to wrap your head around. So let me give you an example. Picture an economy with just 3 loaves of bread and 3 coins. Each loaf costs 1 coin. Now, imagine there's still only 3 loaves, but suddenly there are 6 coins floating around. Each loaf now costs 2 coins. That's basically why flooding an economy with money causes inflation. Or try this one. 3 loaves, 3 buyers, 1 coin each. Now suddenly 6 people want to buy. Prices climb too. Those are your classic textbook causes of inflation. But here's the thing. Japan's situation doesn't fit either one. Inflation here has been running hot since 2022. And the culprit has a name. The falling yen. Take a look at this chart. Simply put, it shows how many yen it takes to buy $1. The higher that line climbs, the weaker the yen gets. Back in 2022, $1 got you 115 yen. Now, $1 gets you around 160 yen. That's a 30% drop in just 4 years. Now, there's an upside here. This genuinely helps Japanese exports. They get cheaper abroad. Say a Japanese pen used to cost $10 at a US store. Now you'd pay around $7 for it, all because the yen's weaker. And travel to Japan, way cheaper too. Say you had $1,000. That used to get you 115,000 yen. Now it gets you 160,000 yen. Not bad at all, pack your bags. No wonder American tourists top the visitor list, and they're spending the most too. Japan's tourism boom kicked off in 2022, and it's been smashing records every year since. 2024, 2025, you name it. But here's the flip side. Tourists are smiling, Japanese locals aren't. The weak yen has pushed prices up directly. Life just got more expensive. Here's the key thing to remember. Japan imports most of its energy and food. We're talking 60% of its food, 87% of its energy, plus everything else on top of that. So when the yen weakens, Japan ends up paying more yen for the exact same stuff. Here's an example. 1 kg of soybeans from the US used to cost $1, which meant Japan paid 120 yen for it. Same soybeans, same $1 price tag, but now it costs 160 yen. That's about 30% more expensive. For any country, keeping prices stable for its people is always a top priority. And Japan, They'd spent years craving inflation, desperate to hit that 2% mark, to get the economy moving. Well, that wish finally came true, just a little too well. Inflation even spiked as high as 4%, and people were genuinely shocked by the wave of rising prices. Bottom line, the weak yen has put Japan in a tough spot. Big exporters are booming. Tourism is booming, but most households and small businesses, they're stuck paying more just to get by. So, inflation's climbing. Real wages have kept falling since 2022. This is getting serious. So naturally, the government wants to save the yen and get things back under control. First move, they raised interest rates from negative territory all the way up to 1% in June 2026, the highest it's been since 1996. Second move, Japan stepped directly into the foreign exchange market. Here's how that works. Japan's sitting on a huge reserve of US dollars, so they sold dollars and bought back yen at a record scale too, about $73 billion just in April and May of 2026. Less yen floating around means the yen gets scarcer, basic supply and demand. Its value goes up, but the yen only got stronger for a bit, then it slid right back down again. And while Japan's still wrestling with its currency, another problem's been quietly creeping up. In 2025, Japan recorded just over 700,000 births. That's the lowest number since records began in 1899, and the 10th year in a row it's dropped. Birth rates are low, and the population just keeps getting older. To deal with that, Japan's been bringing in huge numbers of foreign workers to fill factories, hospitals, farms. As of October 2025, Japan had nearly 2.6 million foreign workers. Vietnamese workers make up the biggest group. But here's where the weak yen throws a wrench into things. Foreign workers earn yen, then send it home. The yen's down 30% over 4 years. So even if their salary hasn't changed, the real value of that money back home has shrunk a lot. I actually asked a Vietnamese worker in Japan about this. He earns around 150,000 yen a month. After living costs, he sends home about 50,000 yen. At today's exchange rate, that's roughly 8 million dong, about $300. If he worked back in Vietnam instead, he could save that same amount without ever having to leave home. So that puts Japan in a real bind. It's one of the fastest aging countries on earth, and it needs immigrant labor just to keep running. But its own weakening currency is quietly pushing that labor away. If this trend keeps up, Japan might have to compete even harder with South Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore just to hold on to its workers. Back to that bowl of grilled eel rice. It's a favorite among the tourists flooding into Japan right now. But while tourists are winning from cheaper trips, it's Japan's own people carrying the worry. Prices up, inflation up, everything is more expensive. But real wages still falling. And it's even tougher for migrant workers, making Japan a less appealing place to work, right when it needs foreign labor the most, as its population keeps aging fast. And there you go, all that from one bowl of grilled eel rice. Goes to show just how much power a currency's swings can have over an entire society. Next time, where do you want to travel? What topic should we dig into? Drop it in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Wishing you a peaceful financial life. Take care and see you next time. One last thought to leave you with today. Success requires attaining this and that. Happiness doesn't. All you need is an open way of living, accepting what comes and letting go of what leaves.